Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradetolife.com and welcome to this new video, which is called If You Can Manifest This, You Can Manifest Anything. And I know that before we dive in, this sounds like a cheesy line, this sounds like a marketing line, like just manifest anything easily and all of that stuff, but trust me, what I'm going to share with you in this video will prove to yourself that this law is real, that the law of assumption, that imagining creates reality, that this is real, that you can apply this for your own life. And this is my aim, this is my goal, to show you that it's not just nice to watch some YouTube videos about this, it's not just nice to listen to me and read all of these things, but no, it's also really nice to apply this and put it into the practice, put it into the application, and apply this for the actual goals that you have in your life. Okay, and in this video, I want to share with you like a little exercise that you can do to, again, prove to yourself that imagining creates reality, to increase your faith, and to help you make this more easily applicable in your life. Okay, so with that, let's just dive right in. And here's what we are going to talk about in this video, right? So first of all, I want to explain to you this exercise, how it works, why you should do it, and why this is so relevant for you to do, right? And maybe some of you have heard about this exercise before, but it doesn't matter on which stage you are basically. If you're just starting new, learning about this law, if you are some months into this, if you are some years into this, you should still do this, okay? And then I want to explain to you what we can learn from this exercise, what this exercise is showing us, what this exercise is teaching us, and how you can, in a sense, use the same method behind this exercise to also apply it for your actual heart's desires. Because oftentimes we think that, for the apartment, I use this manifesting approach, and for the relationship, I use this approach, and for the money, I use this approach, and for the health, this other one. But that's not essentially true, because what is going on underneath the surface level basically is all the time the same. Okay, and I want to explain it to you and point this out to you, and this exercise will help. And last but not least, I will conclude this video with 2 quotes from Neville himself, where he gave us great impulses and great wisdom on our way. And with that, let's just dive right in. And first of all, let's talk about this exercise. And you may have seen this in the thumbnail, and maybe some of you have heard about it before. It's basically called the ladder exercise, right? And before I explain it to you, this exercise will sound maybe silly, maybe funny, maybe not important, maybe not relevant. But again, do it, right? There was a reason why Neville gave this specific exercise to his students, because he knew that this is a powerful way to show them that this law works. So don't take this too light, right? This exercise, even though it maybe sound, like I said, like why the hell should I do this? It is pretty powerful. So here's the exercise. I'm going to explain it to you step by step, and then you can start doing this today, right? Don't say, oh yeah, maybe I will do this next week. No, start today. Just do it. Just prove it to yourself. You have nothing to lose here. So basically how this exercise works, right, is that you imagine climbing a ladder while you drift off to sleep for about 3 nights in a row in an unfamiliar position. So let me explain that. Right? The goal of the exercise is to manifest a ladder, right? This is why it's called the ladder exercise. This is why the thumbnail showed a ladder. So the goal is that we manifest climbing a ladder, at least seeing a ladder in front of us. But more relevant would be to actually climb it somewhere, right? So how you do this, right, is when you go to bed, when you lay down, you imagine climbing a ladder. Right? While you drift off to sleep, while you fall off to sleep, you imagine that ladder. And what I recommend is that you do this in an unfamiliar position. Meaning if you usually drift off to sleep laying on your right side, then lay on your left side and imagine that. Or if you usually lay on your stomach, then right now lay on your back and just imagine that you climb this ladder, right? The reason for that is that this will help you to not instantly fall off to sleep. This will help you to actually stay awake a little while before you fall off to sleep, so that you can actually imagine that, right? That is the first step. It's really, really simple, right? You lay down, close your eyes, and you imagine climbing a ladder. And important right here is that you actually see your hands and your feet from the first person point of view, right? Feel yourself climbing it up and down like you are performing it. Meaning you don't see yourself from a distance and you see your body being at a distance and then you climb the ladder. No, you put yourself in that experience. You put yourself in that scene, in that act, in that imaginative drama, like Neville also called it, and you actually see yourself climbing it. You see your hands, you see the ladder stairs, and you climb it up and you climb it down, right? And you do this until you fall off to sleep for about 3 nights. And what you then can do, right, if you really want to take this to the extreme test, is you can write on some notes, right? You get a pen and you write on some notes, I will not climb a ladder, right? I won't climb a ladder. You put this on notes and you place them on your nightstand, you place them on your desk, you place them in your car, wherever you see them in your day-to-day life. And what this does, I will come to this later, but you can do this, right? And you will see that this, even though you write these notes, you will manifest it, right? And what this tells us is what I'm going to explain to you on the next slide. And if you don't climb that ladder, right, you just repeat the exercise, meaning you should do this until you actually climbed it, right? This is the purpose of it. So don't be disencouraged when you do this and then in 5 days you haven't climbed one. Don't say to yourself, oh no, this doesn't work. Oh no, that's not real. Then you are not really a doer of the law, right? Then you're just doubtful again and skeptical and you let your mind win. But if you really want to prove this, if you really want to take this to the test and prove the statement correct, that imagining creates reality, then you should do this until you actually manifest it, right? So you right now have basically the explanation on how this exercise works. And this exercise has a lot of benefits, right? And we can learn a lot of things from this exercise. One benefit is that it trains your attention, right? It trains and it helps you to place your attention on one thing instead of, your mind going in millions of directions, but you will be able to focus it on the wish fulfilled, on the end state, right? So do this exercise, start today. Now let's talk about what we can learn from this exercise, okay? Now, first of all, what you will see if you do this correctly is that imagination is like bigger than thoughts about the opposite, than doubts, right? It trumps thoughts. And this is especially important because in this community, when we talk about manifesting and consciously living and creating our own reality, oftentimes you will hear people say like it's all about thoughts and think the right thoughts and affirm 24/7 and all of this stuff. However, with this exercise, you can start to prove this wrong. Later, you realize that your thoughts come from your state and you don't have to forcefully flip them or change them or ignore them. Like, no, change the state and those thoughts will change. They're not the enemy, right? But with this exercise, you will see that even though you put on notes, I will not climb the ladder, meaning this will put the thought in your mind that this is not possible, that you won't do it. You will still manifest it because you imagined it, because you imaginatively experienced it. And that is way more powerful because that is the cause, right? That is the thing that manifests. Like it's what you experience in your imagination. A thought alone produces nothing. And even Neville himself said this. A thought needs this like motor element, this driving force, this imaginative experience, this felt real experience so that it actually is potent. So don't focus on thoughts, right? Focus on your imagination. And this is one thing that we can learn from this exercise is that imagination wins. Imagination is supreme, okay? Now, the second thing is what we will see out of this exercise is the importance of going straight to the end to remove further resistance, and then we have no questions about the details of the unfolding, okay? So, oftentimes people, they want to nitpick the process, they want to manifest things along the way, and the reason for that is that based from their current state, they can't see how this will be possible. They think that this is out of their reach, out of their league, and unattainable, and that's kind of true because that's what their mind is telling them. And based from their current state, it might seem that way. However, if we zoom out and if we see things from this bigger picture point of view, from this like infinite house point of view in which, every room already does exist, every state, every so-called like reality, then we realize that, wait a second, my only job is to go straight to the end. I leave out the how, I leave out the when, I leave out the who and what and all of that. I just appropriate the end state, and then whatever has to happen in my life will happen. And by doing that as well, you remove resistance, because the more details you try to bring in, meaning at this date and this exactly and this and that and this person, like the more details you bring in, let's say it like this, right? The more resistance you create for your mind. I'm not saying that you should not be specific on some of your goals, definitely, right? If you have the desire to, like I did, to be in this city or in this relationship or in this car or whatever, you know what you want. However, right, to bring it to this exercise, right, you don't imagine, first of all, driving to the grocery store and then picking up a ladder and then driving this ladder home to you and then climbing it, right? These are the steps in the way, right? But this is way too much questions, way too much confusion. No, you just go straight to the end. You are climbing that ladder. And then whatever has to happen, if, you walk down the street and someone asks you, hey, can you help me pick this up? And then you climb it. I don't know, right? But it is going to happen. When I did this exercise some years ago, I didn't thought that today I would teach it, that I think it is so powerful. But when I look back, this was one of my first manifestations, which increased my faith to such a high level that, this was it. And I wanted to keep going. I wanted to prove the law. I wanted to apply it for other areas, right? So it will also help you to increase your faith, your trust in your imagination, in yourself, right? And again, we see the importance of going straight to the end. And really great here with this exercise, and this is also what Neville told his students that visited his lecture where he taught this exercise, is that he said that this ladder is literally only a placeholder for anything else that they want, right? If it is health, if it is wealth, if it is wisdom, if it is love, if it is a relationship, if it is, being known, being famous, it really doesn't matter, because the ladder was just a symbol, was just a placeholder, was just for those people to prove that by experiencing the end in their imagination, this will then be mirrored back to them in their 3D experience, right? In their life experience. So this is the great thing, right? Don't interpret too much in this ladder. It's really just a ladder, right? It's nothing really special, to be honest. However, what this exercise shows us and the trust it brings us and the importance of applying this law, that is what this points out. And as easily as you manifested the ladder, you could have manifested anything else. This is what Neville told his students. He said, as easily as you have manifested this ladder, you could have manifested a bunch of money or any other thing, right? And he encouraged those people to use the same approach, use the same method in a sense, right? Experiencing in imagination what they want to experience in the flesh for their other goals as well. And with this simple law, now I come to the conclusion, right? With this simple law, imagining creates reality, you can master your life, because you have to remember that you always imagine, you can't turn this off. You always imagine ahead of what you are going to experience, right? If you want to meet up with friends, you first of all imagine that, even if it's just for a second. If you want to lift your finger, you first imagine it. If you want to go from your kitchen to your living room, you first imagine that. Right? It's first imagination, and then you will be moved. So imagination always comes first, and then like what you do in this world and what is happening in this world. And if you really realize that this is the truth, if you really apply this the right way, then you will be more and more and more able to actually consciously master your life. Because at some stage you realize, wait a second, I am the cause of my life. I've been doing this since I was born, and I will continue to do this for the rest of my life. Why not just do it consciously? Why not just do it intentionally? Why not just do it so that it is in alignment with my goals, with my purpose, with my desires, right? And then you will be literally able to master your life, to master your fate consciously with this simple law, right? And you just let your desires guide you, and then you go to the end, you bring them into the here and now, you're fulfilled, and they show up, okay? So I hope that now you can see how important this exercise is and how helpful it is, how beneficial it is. So there is no excuse for you right now to not do it. And now I want to conclude this video with 2 quotes from Neville. So he said, "You do not visualize yourself at a distance in point of space and at a distance in point of time being congratulated on your good fortune. That's not what we do. No, instead you make elsewhere here, and the future now. The difference between feeling yourself in action here and now and visualizing yourself in action as though you were on a motion picture screen is the difference between success and failure. But exactly what I just explained to you. We don't want to visualize ourselves and seeing ourselves from a distance. No, we want to actually be in the experience, right? Remember, imagination is spiritual sensation. I have a video on this if you haven't checked this out yet, where I help you to realize that what you imagine is real, is a real experience, is a creative act that is like not seen yet, that is not in this world, but it still is in existence. It still exists within the infinite consciousness, the infinite awareness. So, and you make elsewhere here, you bring the ladder in the here now, and you bring this experience of climbing it in the here now, as though you were literally already right now, right here doing it, which will give you this relief, this satisfaction of, wow, I actually did it. It's actually done, right? And then he also said the difference will be appreciated if you will now visualize yourself climbing a ladder. Then with eyelids closed, imagine that the ladder is right in front of you and feel yourself actually climbing it, right? You feel that you're doing it, which will give you this feeling of real kind of experience, this feeling of naturalness experience, because you are doing it, right? Feeling is a secret. It has nothing to do with bringing in emotions, right? To manifest a ladder, what emotion do you want to feel here, right? Feeling is a secret, has nothing to do with emotions. It's like feeling it real, feeling it naturalness, feeling it as already being done, right? Which will give you this inner knowingness, which is something that we will talk about in another video, which will be called How to Achieve Total Knowingness. But that is it for this video, right? I'm sure this was very clear. The exercise is about climbing a ladder. So do this. You right now have these steps, and then you can use the same approach, just how you manifested this ladder, for other things as well. Start practicing, start playing, start applying this law, okay? And if you need any help with some of these things, if you have goals and desires that seem more hard, or you still feel like that there's a lot of resistance that you have towards them, that's all right. There are 2 links in the video description that you will find that I encourage you to check out. The first one is my free masterclass, where I give you a straightforward, no BS, no hype, no fluff, no woo-woo explanation on how to manifest your goals and live self-empowered. Just follow these steps in this video. And if you want my personal guidance, right, if you want us to team up, to work together and to work on your desires and goals, shift your self-concept and really make a 180-degree shift in your life, then check out the second link where you can apply for a free call with me or my team to figure out if we are a good fit to work together. And with that, I conclude this video and I speak to you next time. Bye guys.